The story begins with Seth Rogen at the airport, eagerly awaiting the arrival of his friend Jay. After a year apart, both are thrilled and excited to reunite. Seth promises Jay that he has the perfect weekend planned. They quickly arrive at Seth's house, and Jay is immediately struck by how beautiful it is. However, he's even more amazed when he sees his name creatively spelled out in joints. Without hesitation, they light up and the fun begins. But it isn't long before they start to feel the effects and grow tired. Seth then convinces Jay to head to James Franco's house, where a huge party is in full swing. All the biggest stars are there, including Rihanna. They quickly grab a cab and head to James Franco's newly built mansion. Seth informs Jay that Channing Tatum lives nearby. When they arrive, they knock on the door, and James Franco opens it, excited to see Seth. The two are old friends, having worked together on numerous films. As they step inside the house, brimming with celebrities, the first thing they witness is Michael Cera slapping Rihanna, who wastes no time returning the slap. Jonah Hill is thrilled to see both of them and proudly introduces his new dog, which, despite Jonah's efforts, refuses to bark. Instead, the dog just presses its head against the cage and screams. The party also includes Kevin Hart and his friend, Emma Watson and Craig Robinson, and many other famous faces. While Franco boasts to his guests about his house, claiming it's like a fortress, Jay interrupts and asks if Seth can step outside with him to buy cigarettes. On the way to the store, Jay confides in Seth that he doesn't want to return to Franco's house. He feels uncomfortable and doesn't like Jonah Hill, claiming he's just too nice. When they enter the store, Seth asks Jay to buy him some chocolate because he's feeling high, and he's intimidated by the cashier's stern demeanor. Suddenly, the store is struck by an earthquake, and a shelf crashes down on Seth. Jay can't believe his eyes as he watches blue lights slowly begin to pull people up into the sky. They're lifted inch by inch before disappearing into the air. Seconds later, Seth manages to get back on his feet just as the cashier screams, "Why didn't the blue lights take me?" She gets violently taken away. Panicking, Seth and Jay rush outside, narrowly avoiding being hit by an empty car, running as if it's a matter of life and death. They somehow manage to make it back to Franco's house. When they enter, the party is still going strong, and no one seems aware of the chaos unfolding outside. Seth asks if anyone felt the earthquake, but Franco casually responds that nothing can be felt in the fortress. Jay then tells them about the blue lights and how they were pulling people into the sky, but Seth can't back up Jay's story. He was trapped under the shelf, and no one believes him. Just then, the earthquake strikes again, shaking the house. James Franco tries to calm everyone down, but panic spreads quickly, and guests start rushing to leave, despite Franco's reassurance that the house is the safest place. Soon, everyone has spilled out into the street, where they're stunned to see the entire Hollywood Hills, along with the iconic Hollywood sign, erupting in flames. As Paul Rudd rushes down the street, late for the party, Michael Cera begins frantically asking everyone who took his phone. Suddenly, the streetlights behind him topple over and impale him in the back. It raises him high up in the air, but luckily he finds his phone. The earth begins to tremble, and a massive hole opens up in the ground. People start falling into it. The earth starts cracking, and Rihanna falls into the void. Jonah Hill, running by in a panic, shoves Jay toward the hole, but Jay manages to grab the edge just in time. A man hanging from the edge pleads for help, but Craig coldly tells him it's too late and runs off. While almost everyone meets their fate in a pit full of lava, the man then grabs Kevin Hart's leg. While Kevin tries to kick him away, electricity cable breaks and cuts the man off. Karma, however, catches up to Kevin as he's soon swallowed by the ground as well. Jay somehow pulls himself out of the hole and takes a final, stunned look at the massive void that's appeared out of nowhere. He rushes back into the house, where Seth is relieved to see he's alive, but Franco is furious that people abandoned the house despite his assurances that it was the safest place. Jonah Hill tells Franco to stop, urging him not to scare Jay any further. Meanwhile, Seth and Craig stand together, tearfully mourning the loss of their friends. The 5 remaining actors rush to turn on the TV, only to witness the entire world being struck by the largest earthquake ever recorded in history. A voice on the screen urges everyone to stay inside their homes, just before the broadcast cuts out. Seth turns to the group, suggesting they stay put and wait for rescue. Jonah Hill chimes in, reminding everyone that they are famous actors, and actors are always the first to be rescued. As the sound of a helicopter approaches, they believe it's their rescue coming to save them. But the helicopter crashes into the house, narrowly missing Craig and leaving him seriously injured. The group quickly decides to barricade the house and secure themselves inside. Their entire supply for survival includes 12 bottles of water, bunch of alcohol, Nutella, eggs, bacon, steak, lots of snacks, and finally, a Milky Way chocolate bar. Some of the illegal substances, a baseball bat, and a video camera from the movie 127 Hours. There's a functioning revolver from Flyboys as well, James Franco casually mentions that he kept the revolver from the movie and that it's the real deal. He hands the gun to Jonah Hill, who pretends to shoot it, then acts like he's about to shoot himself. Seth interrupts, asking how they're going to divide the supplies. Jonah immediately claims the Milky Way, but Franco insists it's his, explaining that he went to the store just this morning specifically for that chocolate bar. Suddenly, everyone wants at least a bite of it. An argument breaks out and Jay suggests they all get a fifth of everything, but Franco, now fixated on the Milky Way, demands a fifth of Craig's t-shirt instead. Jonah Hill insists that he needs the Milky Way because his blood sugar is low, and if his endorphins drop, he'll need sugar to keep going. Franco, unfazed, tells him that if that happens, he can have a single finger scoop of Nutella. After the house is barricaded, the group settles into sleep while everything outside erupts into flames. When morning comes, someone wakes up in a bathtub and goes about their usual routine, casually dancing and smoking a blunt. It's revealed to be Danny McBride. He was drunk and fell asleep in the bathtub, and everyone forgot about him. Completely unaware of the apocalypse, he uses the water from their supplies to wash his feet and face. Then, he proceeds to use half of the food supplies to make breakfast. At that moment, James Franco wakes up and is shocked to see Danny. He screams, "Guys, Danny's alive! He's eating all the food!" The group rushes to him, begging him to stop. But Danny tells them, "Calm down, I'm sure the Green Goblin can afford some more bacon." The group explains what's happened, but Danny laughs, thinking it's all a joke. He continues eating, and suddenly something begins banging violently on the door. A man appears outside, desperately begging to be let in. Franco, however, thinks it's a bad idea. After all, they don't know him, and they can't trust him. He warns the group that things are crazy out there. All of a sudden, a monstrous voice echoes through the air, and the man's fate is sealed in an instant. Everyone starts panicking, but Franco calms them down, saying that whatever killed that man might still be out there. They look through the window, only to witness total chaos. Later, the group discusses what could be happening, and Jay offers a theory. This is a real apocalypse. He shows them the Bible and convinces them that this is the Judgment Day. According to him, the devil has been released onto the earth. Franco interrupts, saying that if all the good people went to heaven, that would mean they're all a bunch of assholes. The group, now a bit more relaxed, decides to use the rest of their supplies, having the time of their lives. They even started recording the sequel to their movie, starring Woody Harrelson. It could have been a great film, full of action, but sadly, it's a movie that no one will ever see. But then, someone begins breaking into the house. It turns out to be Emma Watson, who's relieved to see them. She tells them that while she was hiding in a pipe for days, she could hear people screaming and believes it's a zombie apocalypse. Franco offers Emma his room to rest and makes sure she's comfortable. Seth, noticing that Emma is the only girl in the group, suggests they should give her all the worst food. Danny immediately disagrees, explaining that he loves Harry Potter. Jay steps in, telling everyone to be nice to her and avoid any red flags, while mentioning the word grape. Suddenly, the conversation spirals, and the word grape catches Emma's attention. She heads outside with an axe and punches Seth in the face. In a fury, she takes all of their drinks and exits the house. Danny then records a message saying that Hermione stole their stuff. The group soon becomes thirsty, and Franco tells them he has 2 jugs of water in the basement, but the doors are outside the house. Someone has to go out, so they decide to draw matches to choose who. Craig decides to try his luck first, and ends up with the burnt match. And Franco tells him that he would prefer if someone else picked the burnt match, while pointing at Danny. He ties himself with a rope and tells the group to pull him back if he screams. He leaves the house and quickly rushes toward the basement door, but the group accidentally drops the rope. Craig reaches the door, but unfortunately, it's locked. As he tries to return, he hears monsters and panics. He screams for the group, and they casually inform him that they lost the rope. Somehow, he makes it back inside, but is immediately pulled back. Jay yells at Jonah to throw him a knife to cut the rope, and Jonah throws it into Jay's leg. Meanwhile, Danny, hiding under the table, asks why Craig didn't bring any water. Franco tells them that the water is right underneath them, so the group quickly starts digging a hole to the basement. After a few hours, when most of them have given up, Seth and Jay continue digging until the floor finally breaks beneath their feet. The boys cheer in excitement, but to preserve what they have, they all agree to drink just 1 glass of water for dinner. They congratulate Seth and Jay as heroes for breaking into the basement. Everyone slowly sips their water, savoring the moment, but Danny, without hesitation, chugs his glass in 1 gulp. He then heads to pour another. The others start yelling at him, telling him that 1 glass is enough. Danny casually brushes them off, saying it's fine, but still grabs the entire jug of water. He begins drinking it and pouring it all around him. The others try to stop him, but it's too late. The entire jug is gone. Franco, furious, threatens to kill Danny, but Danny, unbothered, taunts him, proving that Franco doesn't have the guts to do it and walks away. Franco suggests kicking Danny out of the house, pointing out that he's been eating non-stop and has already wasted their water twice. Jonah defends Danny, saying he's under a lot of pressure. Franco, however, sarcastically remarks that Danny has gained weight since he arrived. The group then informs Danny of his fate. He can't believe they feel this way, especially after he made them breakfast. He begins to tell them about his sad childhood, hoping to win them over. The group, moved by his story, agrees to let him stay, but now Danny says he wants to leave. Everyone begs him to stay, but he asks if there's anything to protect himself. Franco hands him a revolver, and without hesitation, Danny shoots at everyone. However, it turns out to be a prop gun. Danny then tells everyone that he met Jay in Los Angeles 2 months ago, but Jay told him not to tell Seth that he is here, just before he disappears into the fog. Seth is disappointed, and Jonah starts giving Jay a lecture, and Jay punches him in the face. Jonah just goes to his room and starts praying for Jay to die. Later that night, when everyone's asleep, something appears in the shadows of Jonah's room. It removes his bedsheets and crawls over him, while he screams, "Oh my God, this is not a dream." In the morning, the group needs to decide who will go to Franco's neighbor's house to look for supplies. Franco picks the first match, and it's a good one. While Jonah stands there looking disoriented, saying that he didn't sleep well, he picks a match, and it's a good one. Craig is safe, and so is Jay, which leaves Seth with a burnt match. He immediately says he's not going, and Jay thinks he's a coward. So Seth challenges him to go, and Jay agrees. Jonah thinks his prayers are coming true. Meanwhile, Craig, thinking it's not fair, wants to come with Jay, and the duo exits the house. Walking into a dense fog, they spot the house and quickly rush inside. Back at Franco's house, Jonah has started collapsing and convulsing. They don't know what to do, but Seth remembers low blood sugar. Franco takes the Milky Way chocolate but doesn't know how to feed him. Seth tells him to chew it up and spit it in his mouth like the birds do. But as soon as he takes a bite, he can't resist the taste and swallows it. And Seth also wants a bite. Franco eventually tries to feed Jonah, but he starts speaking with a demonic voice, saying that they will drown in the rivers of blood and that the end of days is here, just before he passes out. Back to Craig and Jay. They have found the food and are preparing to head back. All of a sudden, a monster jumps through the window and starts chasing them around the house. Jay almost gets caught, while Craig hides behind the bed. Back to Seth and Franco. As they wonder what's going on with Jonah, he pukes on them and starts throwing them around the house with tremendous force. Back to Jay, he tries to open the doors while the monster charges at him, but Craig pushes him out of the way at the last second. At that moment, Franco and Seth are trying to escape the possessed Jonah Hill. Craig and Jay also arrive, and Jay knocks Jonah out with a baseball bat. They instantly tied him down and headed to perform an exorcism, but Jonah kept laughing and saying it was tickling him. Seth stopped Jay, saying it was a stupid idea. They quickly got into a heated argument, and the fight escalated to a candle rolling down and setting the bed sheets on fire. Soon the entire room caught on fire. Possessed Jonah, trying to catch them, set the entire house on fire. The group was forced to head outside and watch as the house burned down. Jay told everyone that they were out in the open now, and Franco wanted to get to his car, but the demon appeared right above it. Craig quickly decided to sacrifice himself to protect the rest of the group. He lured the demon away from the car so that the others could reach it. Craig lunged at the demon, but suddenly a blue light appeared, scaring the demon away. Craig began to levitate into the sky, while Jay said that he knew it would work, and Jay explained that if a bad person redeems themselves for their sins, they can go to heaven. So, the guys started complimenting each other. Unexpectedly, they were hit by a truck. When they left the vehicle, they were captured by a bunch of savages. The lights turned on, and the big boss arrived at the scene. It is revealed to be Danny. He can't believe they are still alive, and he shows them his pet. It's Channing Tatum. Danny also informs the guys that his group is hungry and that they look delicious. Franco informs the guys that he will make distraction while they can leave. He hits a guy with a brick and makes a pretty good distraction. While Jay and Seth manage to escape, suddenly blue lights appear around him and he begins to levitate. He instantly starts cursing Danny, and the lights instantly disappear. Danny and his cannibals then proceed to eat him alive. Some of them begin to pursue the remaining two. In their desperate attempt to flee, they run into the devil himself. He slowly lunges towards them, and thinking they will die, Jay tells Seth that he is sorry for not being a better friend, and that he is glad they will die together. But they are suddenly saved by the blue lights forming around Jay, slowly pulling him up. He wants to take Seth with him and grabs his hands. They quickly get so high up in the air that even the devil can't reach them, but they suddenly stop and begin to return to Earth. Seth realizes he doesn't deserve to go to heaven and doesn't want to stop Jay. So, he lets go, just before he falls into the beast's mouth. Blue lights form around him and begin pulling him up to the sky. The duo grabs each other's hands and together they ascend to heaven, where Craig awaits them and informs them that he is an angel, and they can be too. Here, they can get whatever they want and be whoever they want. Seth quickly materializes a segue, and Jay wants to hear his favorite band. Everyone starts dancing, and that's where the film ends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video. Thanks for watching.